So, once again, we're live. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. We do this every Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time in the U.S. So, anybody new here, I'm glad to have you here. And hope you join in the chat. Make some comments as I go through the stories. Let's see. There's my phone trying to do what it always does. Okay. Live streaming simulcasting, as always, on YouTube and Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Mobile Geezer or George Hayes. So you can follow along there or on YouTube. Sent the link out to Mike, Will, Ted, and Mark, the usual suspects. No word on if any of them will be able to join, but just wanted you to know I sent it out. Last week was awesome because we had Musketeers and D'Artagnan, Mike, Will, and myself, who originally started Friday Night Tech Talk, and Ted, who's been with us the last at least 2 years. So that was like a reunion. So hopefully we'll have another one of those soon. Who knows? Maybe one of them will join tonight. Probably going to be a short night. No one in the comments as yet, so I don't know who's watching. It's going to be a short night because this week, tech-wise, has not been exciting. Hasn't been much. Matter of fact, Jaime Rivera on Pocket Now twice this week said what a boring week it is tech-wise. So it's not just me. So if you want to follow along in the stories, let me share my screen. I always put the stories on my website. Oh, let me get rid of this out of the way. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, click on the first story with today's date, and you can follow all the stories along right there. So, stop screen. So, since I'm not seeing it, oh, there's Eleanor. Hi, Eleanor. Glad to have you here. You're the first one in again. Anybody else that's there? Let me know. Renz, if I know Renz, he's probably on his way to work. It's Saturday morning in the Philippines, and he works every Saturday. And there's Vince. Hey, Vince, glad to have you here, brother. So we had Eleanor, we had Vince. Glad that you're here. Probably going to be a short night, as I was just saying. Even Jaime Rivera on Pocket Now in his daily broadcast, he said twice this week what a boring week it is. This is not an exciting week tech-wise. But I pulled in some stories that I thought you might find interesting. And there's Missy, glad to have you here. So 3 of the regulars are here. We're still waiting for Renz, but Renz is probably fighting traffic on his way to work. So I'll get started with the stories. And let me share screen once again. Oh, first, let me go back and put my usual stuff up here. There we go. Just in case anybody wants to donate. Who knows? You never know. All right, so share screen. And we'll get to the first story, which is Dish 5G network, which was Boost. I don't know if they're still using the name Boost at all. Up and running in Vegas. And this was on CNET. So we'll go into there. Make it a little bit bigger for you. So this was on CNET. Dish finally opens its 5G network to everyone, starting in Las Vegas. Dish, the 4th U.S. carrier, launches its 5G network in Las Vegas and lists over 100 cities it will expand to. This was published 2 days ago by David Lone. So let's go into read a view, see if we can get rid of some of these ads. Okay. Dish, which took on the role of fourth U.S. mobile carrier after the T-Mobile and Sprint merger finalized in April 2020, has blown past several deadlines over the years in getting its 5G network up and running. But Dish's 5G service is finally going in Las Vegas on Wednesday, and the company has listed over 100 cities that will get covered next. Dish said last June that Las Vegas would be its first 5G city, though the company expected to launch service in the third quarter of last year. Dish's 5G service, called Project Genesis, costs $30 per month and includes a white glove delivery experience. Don't know what that means. But currently, the network only officially supports one phone, the latest Motorola Edge Plus, the one I have right here, released earlier this year. Customers signing up for Project Genesis will be issued a new Motorola Edge Plus. That's cool. As more devices become equipped with the necessary specs, customers can bring them onto our network, a company spokesman told CNET. The company also noted that some early beta customers has successfully used their Galaxy S22 phones on the network, and Dish expects to announce more handsets support soon. So I guess all the Galaxy S22s, which I also have right here. This is the S22 Plus. The launch comes just a month before another deadline set by regulators for Dish to cover 20% of the U.S. population with 5G service, a requirement for the company to prove it can offer service benefiting a national wireless carrier. Dish executive acknowledged the delay in 5G rollout during a February earnings call, citing supply chain issues and underestimating how much work it would take to build out their own network. You would think they would have done some research on that. So you got more people popped in. There's Annette. Hey, Annette, glad to have you. Renz, I knew you'd be there. Okay. And he's about to leave for work. All right, so we'll see you when you get to work. Glad you're all here. Okay. In addition to building its 5G service on Open RAN, a new type of cellular network per Axios, Dish also shored up its service by paying AT&T $5 billion over the next 10 years to lean on its 5G network. So it's going to be kind of an MVNO of AT&T. While the 5G service is live in Las Vegas today, Dish has listed 113 other cities in 22 states that it's aiming to expand to, including major markets like Dallas, Nashville, Kansas City, and Orlando. It's unclear, however, when any of these markets will launch and what coverage will look like in those areas. Dish previously reached an agreement with AT&T to allow customers to roam on the latest 5G network when coverage on Dish's service isn't available. By the June FCC deadline, Dish says its 5G service will be live in 120 markets across the country. So they were supposed to launch last fall. They didn't launch until May this year, and we're supposed to believe that by next month they'll be in 120 more markets. I don't know about you, that kind of strains credibility for me, but I guess it's possible. So anyway, we now have a fourth carrier up and running in the U.S. We'll see if they can meet any of their deadlines. So let's stop screen. I think I've said hello to everybody that I see there. Anybody else out there wants to say something in the comments, just to let me know you're there, I'd be very happy. Okay. So let's go on to the next story. I'll let you know if any of the other guys come in. Okay, next story. And I think you all know I've been saying for a couple of weeks I'm pretty excited about the Pixel Watch, but I also have the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. So, of course, this story interested me. Hopefully, it'll interest you also. This was on Android Authority. Latest Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 leak all but confirms Pro model. Update. Strong evidence suggests that the Galaxy Watch 5 is going Pro. So that's the 4, which is what I'm wearing right now. All right, there's an update from the original story, but I'll go through the original story first. Let's get rid of some of these ads. Okay, here's the original article, which is from 22nd of April. Fans of the classic Galaxy Watch variation may be in for a disappointment, with reports indicating Samsung may ditch it with the Galaxy Watch 5 series. The classic model traditionally featured a slightly larger design and included high-end materials. The classic also had a larger rotating bezel around the glass face, giving it a more traditional look than the sleeker base model. On the inside, the two models were mostly identical, meaning they were minimal performance and battery life benefits included with the upgraded version. While Sam Mobile's report is light on details, hopefully the anticipated Pro model will incorporate some of the classic's visual characteristics, providing a viable option for customers who still want that classic look. So my feeling is they're changing it from classic to Pro, but who knows? All right, so this was the update from yesterday. Folks over at Galaxy Club have discovered code names for the Galaxy Watch 5. Samsung is reportedly developing the Watch 5 under the code name Heart. Different models of the smartwatch include the following: Heart S, smaller 40 or 42 millimeter, with model number, you can see it here, SMR90X. Heart L, larger version, 44 or 46 millimeter, with model number SMR91X. Heart Pro, so there's the Pro. The alleged Pro version with model number SMR92X. The Pro version seems to only exist in one size variant, and they're not telling us which size that is. The fact that Samsung has Pro in the code name is a strong hint that the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is in the making. However, this new information is contrary to the leak in the original article below, that the upcoming Samsung watch only has 2 models. So this code says there's 3. So I guess we'll see. I'm hoping there's a Pro, because if it's the same as the classic or in the same level, I'll certainly be getting that one. So I'm looking forward to that. What am I doing? Okay. Okay, no new comments yet. Anybody that wants to comment on any of the stories, just feel free. I'll try to keep up with looking at them. Okay, next one. I thought some people might be excited about this. You can now play Fortnite on your iPhone again and some of your other Apple products. And this one was on Tech Radar. A bunch of people had this story, though. So, thanks to Microsoft, you can play Fortnite on an iPhone again for free. And I've checked out a couple of things, and yes, that definitely is true. You can play it for free. Fortnite free for all. So let's see if we can get rid of some ads. Okay. After years of being without one of the world's most popular games, gamers of iOS and iPadOS can finally play Fortnite once again, thanks to Microsoft and Epic Games bringing Fortnite to Xbox Cloud Gaming and allowing everyone to play it without the need for an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription, so you really can play it for free. As part of Microsoft's mission to bring the joy and community of gaming to players wherever they are, Fortnite can now be played on any iOS, iPadOS, Android phone, or tablet, or Windows PC, so you can play it on everything, with internet access through a web browser. This is without any need to download or install anything. As long as you have a Microsoft account, so that's the key, which is an incredibly low bar to entry. While all this sounds well and good, the Xbox Cloud Gaming Service is still technically in beta, so it's only available in 26 countries at the moment. You'll also require a fast internet connection if you want seamless gameplay without any hitches or too much compression in Fortnite's graphics. Thankfully for mobile gaming fans who want to keen on Fortnite, in the Xbox Wire post announcing Fortnite's glorious return to iOS devices, Microsoft noted that they're planning to bring more free-to-play games to the Xbox Cloud Gaming Service in the future. However, there's currently no indication of just which other free-to-play games will be available at this time. So if you have a good connection, as long as you have a Microsoft account, you can go play Fortnite on any of your iOS devices and your Android and computer as much as you want. So I thought that was good to let people know that. So let's get rid of that one. It's going to be a really short night. I only have a few stories. Okay. This one I just thought was interesting. And it's another story that was in a number of places. This one was on BBC News, but I saw it in a couple of others also. Okay. Cambridge University trains robot to taste as it cooks eggs. So now it can taste. Where it can taste is kind of weird, but you'll see that. Let's go into reader view. Okay. There's the robot arm. Researchers from the University of Cambridge said it could help in automated food preparation. Oh, I'm sorry. A robot has been trained to taste food at different stages of the chewing process to check if it's salty enough in a way similar to humans. So I guess right now we can only check to see how salty it is. Researchers from the University of Cambridge said it could help in automated food preparation. The robot, which had already been trained to make omelets, tasted a dish of scrambled eggs and tomatoes. The paper's co-author, Dr. Arsen Abdulali, said it could make the robots better cooks. According to the research, the robot tasted 9 different variations of scrambled eggs and tomatoes at 3 different stages of the chewing process. In order to imitate the change in texture caused by chewing, the team put the egg mixture in a blender and had the robot taste the dish. To imitate testing in their robot chef, researchers attached a probe which acts like a saltiness sensor to a robot arm. So the robot tasted through his arm. I don't know if he has a mouth, but he tastes through his arm. He, she, whatever it is. Using the probe, the robot tasted the dishes in grid-like fashion, returning a reading in just a few seconds. It then produced taste maps of the different dishes. The researchers found the taste-as-you-go approach improved the robot's ability to quickly and accurately assess the saltiness of the dish. Dr. Abdul Ali said, "We wanted to replicate a more realistic process of chewing and tasting in a robotic system, which should result in a tastier product." I would have thought if you wanted to be more realistic, you wouldn't have had him taste with its arm, but that's just me. When a robot is learning how to cook, like any other cook, it needs indications of how well it did. In our experiment, the robot can see the difference in the food as it's chewed, which improves its ability to taste. So I guess the chewing is done on the arm. Okay. Guess if I can accept the robot tasting, I can accept it tasting with an arm. Gregor Shokaki from the university's Department of Engineering, who co-wrote the paper, said, "If robots are to be used for certain aspects of food preparation, it's important that they are able to taste what they're cooking." The findings were published in the journal Frontiers in Robotics and AI. So I just thought, so we now have a robot that can taste through its arm. That's heavy duty. Let's see. He said, checked all those boxes. Good to go try that game out. The neighbors play. Okay. So that was going back to the last story that you can now play Fortnite on your iPhone. Well, yeah, you have an iPhone and the iPad, so you should be good to go. Okay. Moving on down. More union stuff. Now, of course, Amazon already has one place with a union. So now we've got Apple Store employees going for it too. This is on CNET. Notice they changed their logo a little bit. And it's by David Lum. So let me go into read review. First Apple Store union election in the U.S. is scheduled for June 2nd, report says. Apple has agreed with Apple Store employees in Atlanta to schedule a union election on June 2nd, according to documents provided to The Verge. If the vote succeeds, the workers will be the first in the company to unionize. The employees voting next month work at the Apple Store in Atlanta's Cumberland Mall. I know where that is. They were the first of the company's workers to file for an election in April. Though workers at other Apple Store locations have had their own union drives, including in New York City's Grand Central Terminal and Towson Town Center in Maryland, according to The Verge. Apple employees pushing for unionization posted a public letter of what they're seeking, including higher pay, better career development options, and enforcement of health and safety protocols, according to The Verge. Apple didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. Gee, what a surprise. Other tech companies have seen an uptick in unionization efforts. Google employees began forming the Alphabet Workers Union in early 2021. Didn't know that. Though its 900-plus member roster represents under 1% of parent company Alphabet's total workforce. Those efforts spread to a group of contractors in Missouri who became the first Google Fiber workers to unionize back in March, signing up with AWU. So they already have a union. Didn't know that. Workers in Amazon warehouses had several big union pushes in April. Those in the Staten Island, New York location voted to become the first U.S. workers at the company to successfully unionize, which we did that story a couple of weeks ago, while workers in Alabama have seemingly failed to union. Yeah, I guess they lost the vote in Alabama. I saw that story. Though hundreds of challenged ballots have left the final decision uncertain. Days ago, a separate Staten Island warehouse unionization vote failed. Big tech companies have continued to resist unionization. Amazon is seeking a revote for the unionized Staten Island warehouse. But the continued efforts by the Apple retail employees suggest more collective bargaining to come. So I didn't know Google had already done it, or at least somebody. Google had already done it. So it looks like all these big tech companies are going to have a certain amount of union going on. So, okay, one story left, yes. This is going to be one of our quickest shows ever. Okay. And some of you may have read a few months ago that Apple became the #1 smartphone maker in China. Well, that has now changed again. So this was on CNN Business. Apple loses top spot in China as smartphone sales slump. And that's by Laura He. So let's go into review. Okay. A Hong Kong CNN Business. Just 3 months ago, Apple became the top-selling smartphone brand in China for the first time in 6 years. Now it's fallen back behind its Chinese rivals after suffering more than others from a first quarter slump in sales. Two research reports published this week showed Apple slipping to third spot behind Chinese Android handset brands. You would have thought they would have told us who was 1 and 2. The change in market ranking comes as China faces a sharp economic slowdown. We're all dealing with that. And as COVID restrictions slam the brakes on consumer spending. Smartphone sales in China declined 14% in the first quarter as volumes fell close to the levels seen during the severe pandemic-impacted quarter one of 2020, Counterpoint Research said in a report on Thursday. Apple sales plunged 23% in the 3 months to March compared with the previous quarter, Counterpoint Research added. The company enjoyed rapid growth in China last year, right after releasing the iPhone 13. Its market share in China now stands at 17.9% compared with 21.7% in the quarter ended December. A report by Canalys, they're a heavy-duty company with this stuff, on Friday also showed Apple fell back from the market leader in China to third spot with its first quarter shipments down 36% from the previous quarter. Canalys tracks shipments by manufacturers to retail outlets rather than sales to consumers. Ivan Lam, senior analyst at Counterpoint Research, attributed Apple's decline partly to the economic slowdown in China that has affected money in people's pockets. Chinese homegrown brands, including Vivo, Honor, and Oppo, fared better than Apple as their sales rebounded after suffering from the iPhone 13 strong performance in the last quarter of 2021. So I assume Vivo, Honor, and Oppo, two of those have to be the top two spots, I guess. Overall, a seasonal decline in demand and major economic uncertainty have dragged on the market in the first few months of this year. I don't think quarter two data will improve much, as ongoing lockdowns will continue to affect consumers' willingness to spend, Lam told CNN Business. There are full or partial lockdowns currently in place in at least 27 cities across China, affecting up to 165 million people, according to CNN's calculations. Shanghai, the nation's leading financial center and major manufacturing hub, has been under lockdown for more than a month. The restrictions have forced many businesses to shut down and dealt a huge blow to economic activity. China's economy slowed sharply in the past couple of months. Retail sales contracted in March for the first time in more than a year. Unemployment, meanwhile, surged to a record 6% in 31 major cities. These factors, combined with the downward demand trend always visible in China's smartphone market before the fresh pandemic's wave, impacted the senior sector significantly. Megmen Zhang, a research analyst for Counterpoint Research, said in the report accompanying the data release. She expected China's smartphone demand to remain underwhelming because of weak consumer sentiment and a lack of new innovations to stimulate consumers. It's not just weak demand that's hurting Apple in China. The company is also facing supply chain challenges stemming from China's lockdowns. Foxconn, a major supplier for Apple, halted production at its Shenzhen facility for a few days last month as the city imposed a COVID lockdown. Pegatron, an iPhone assembler, also suspended operations in its Shanghai and Kunshan plants earlier this month. CEO Tim Cook said Thursday during an earnings call that growing COVID restrictions in China, along with industry-wide silicon shortages, would impact the company's next quarter by $4 to $8 billion. That's a big impact, but nothing they can do about it. The supply chain issues continue to be a headwind in China, and that will weigh on June quarter growth, said Dan Ives, an analyst with Wedbush Securities. Earlier this month, Canalys warned that smartphone vendors in the world face major uncertainty because of China's rolling lockdowns, the Russia-Ukraine war, and the threat of inflation. So we'll all be paying for some of this, and we'll all probably be waiting for tech, especially phones, as the year goes on, is my guess. So that was my, at least we made it to 8:30. That was my last story of the night. And let's see. Nothing new in the comments. Okay. So I'm going to go on to glowing rectangles. Back to share screen. And we'll just have a short night tonight. So as we do every week at the end of the show, we tell you about glowing rectangles, which is on reddit.com. Let me see if I can get my stuff out of the way here so you can see it better. Okay, so if you go to reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles, this is a place where you can get more exposure for yourself, for videos you might make, a blog you might write. You can put it here every day and it'll get upvotes or downvotes. I don't know anybody that gets downvotes. But Juan Bagnell, some gadget guy, created this, and it does allow people to get more exposure than they normally would get. I'm just looking for where. Oh, if you click on top, you'll see what got the most votes today. So this got 3 votes, 3 upvotes today. ZFold3 got another update already. So that tells you who it was posted by. You can always click on the story and go see it. So this is a blog post on WordPress. And the second thing you see here is always an ad. And this one got upvotes, 2 upvotes, and so did this story. So these are the second 2 stories that got some upvotes. Samsung processor Exynos 1280 with 5G and AI capabilities launched. Then the Samsung Deck story. And you can see who they were posted by. So every week, just like to let you know that if you go out to reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles, you can always post a video of your own, somebody else's, a blog of your own or somebody else's, and you or they will get more exposure. So I'd like to make you aware of that every week. So you put my stuff back. Stop screen. Okay. So we did about 35 minutes today, and we've already gotten through everything. Like I said, this has not been a heavy-duty week. Let's see. Oh, Brian, glad to have you here, brother. Let's see. He says, driving back home, it's raining, so I have to catch the replay. Oh, just glad that you do, brother. And, of course, as faithful as you always are. Thank you very, very much. Always appreciate it, and always glad to have you in here. So it seems like Brian is always on his way home, I guess, from work when Renz is on his way to work. But Brian's here in America, Renz over in Philippines, and it's tomorrow morning there already. All right. Good night, Miss C. Glad you came in and glad you made your comments, and go play some Fortnite with your iPhone or your iPad. So that's going to be it for tonight, folks. Thanks to everybody who came in. Thanks to everybody who commented. Thanks to Brian, as always. Renz, I'm sorry that it was so short tonight that I finished before you got to work. But hopefully you'll forgive me, and we'll talk next week, or at least you will be back in the comments next week. And, of course, you and I always follow each other on Twitter anyway. So I hope everybody has a very blessed weekend, and I will see you next week, same time, same station, with Friday Night Tech Talk. So have a great one.